Four, three, two. Welcome, everyone. I'm so glad you can make it today and join us here. I'm Jason Stitt, co-founder of IT Force, and supporting me here today, as you may know, is Daxon Flynn, who's acting as my producer. Today is our first ever event. We're always looking for feedback on our events, so please let us know where we can improve. Thanks. Now, for those who don't know IT Force, we are a 20-year-old managed service organization continuing to support Southern Ontario. And we are excited about our new mission. That is to support 1,000 people who make a positive difference in our not-for-profit sector at no cost. So I just wanted everyone to know about that. And the way it works is for every 10 people we host on our managed services, we're going to support one person in our not-for-profit organizations at no cost. Now let's talk about our Teams in R, which we dubbed. It's a webinar, but using Teams. And today our Teams in R is 3 early wins to maximize savings with Microsoft Teams. And it's designed to get you up and running quickly, as we want your people working in Teams as early and easy as possible. We're not going to go through the history or all the features today. We'll be directly focusing on 1, chat to reduce your email and increase your speed on decision making, integrated meetings, which today we're using one of the features called live events, and mobile integration. So once we go through chat and meetings, I'm just going to quickly take you through how the mobile integration works, how to keep your people connected. Remember, anytime you have any questions, please send it through our Q&A window so we can review them in the Q&A section at the end for about the last 10 minutes of this Teams in R. Also, this will be recorded and available online. So once we're done, we'll send everyone the link so you can go back through it again, because we will have some on-screen tutorials happening today, and I just want that to be available to you and your teams, that's your people. So let's get started. Our first win 1, is the Teams chat. Now we know chat's been around for a while, and we do use it on our phones all the time, like Apple or Evernote or however you guys are using it. But it's directly integrated now into our Teams workspace. So that means you don't have to switch in and out. And in a study done by Forrester Research Group, 83% of global IT and business decision makers agreed that having an open chat made it easier to understand conversational text or context. Thus, they were able to improve their decision making by 18%. Having all the information and resources readily available via the team shared workspace and being able to confirm with their peers more efficiently enabled the executives and key decision makers to make their decisions faster. So now I'm going to show Microsoft Teams chat from my desktop, and we're just going to walk through a little bit on how we can orientate ourselves and use the features. So just a quick orientation of the window. We have over here, we have our app bar. This is our main area that you guys are going to get very familiar with. We have our chat. We have our Teams area that we won't be talking about today. We'll just see it a little bit. We have our integrated calendar, which is where we'll talk about that in our meetings. But back to our chat area, what we're going to see here is our list pane, and this is our constant communication and active listing of interactions with our teammates, whether they're group chat or single chat, and I'll show more about that. Of course, in our command, we have our command box here on top where we can run a few searches and looks inside our communications. And from there, we have our context pane, and this is where all the information is, and this is kind of very similar to your email. So you have your list pane of who you're communicating with, and then you have your ongoing communications. So from there, I just want to show you how to actually run and use the chat. So a one-to-one chat, if you communicated with someone already, you're going to see them here. If you've communicated with someone already, you're going to see them here in the list pane. But if you want to create a new chat with an individual that you may not have talked to, your organization is already populated in here, so you can quickly get to them, very similar to what you're used to in your email with a quick list. And we can see here we have a number of individuals in our organization. However, if you choose someone you've already talked to, it'll link it to your history. From there, what we see is all the communications that we've had to date. So if we have to refer back to something, we'll have that availability. But if we wanted to start a new chat with Simon about the live event, we can see that works here. And Outlook continues to remind me here persistently. Now, once we've talked to Simon, he would be able to get back to me from his desktop or his mobile device. And we have the ability, as we can see, to modify this with spelling mistakes. We want to clean it up. Now from here, if we wanted to group, say, Simon with an individual, we would create a new chat and say we had to work with Simon. And we also wanted to work with Edward. So now we've created a group. Well, we've seen we have this group existed before, which is great, and we can continue to work with both the executive group that we've named, and now any messages we have go to both Simon and Edward Executive. So you'll be able to customize your group for your departments, in your organization, for your project teams, if you have specific project teams that you need to group together and keep communication lines open. So I'm just going to close our Outlook because she's giving me some troubles here. She was very persistent to keep me informed. Now, one thing is capable in Teams is sending files with each other. So one thing we do in Teams is we no longer send files. What we do is we send links to files so that we can collaborate them on. So quickly, in another Teams scenario, we'll go through this. We can see here that we are working with files inside a team, and we wanted to grab the link. So instead of sending the file to the team, we want to send a link. And by sending the link, that allows the team to work on the file together without multiple copies. And they can, if they like, work in this file directly inside Teams itself. So a number of individuals can work on this collaboratively right from the chat. So from here, we see collaborative, and we say, great, I will work on this later. I can give it a thumbs up, confirm that I'm happy with the link, that it works, so the team sees that I've confirmed everything is acceptable, and I'll move forward on that. From there, inside channels, where if you're working as projects, we have the ability to send posts and communications to inside a specific area. So this is what we call the HR area. And from here, what we have is all the conversations going on in this specific area, and they are grouped together so we can see the history of what's been happening inside this channel. And again, channels is an area where individuals who have roles or responsibilities can work together collaboratively. So for chat, again, we see here list pane, and we have the information of every chat we've been working on so we can quickly get back to them, continue on. And every time a chat is sent, it's also going to be available on our mobile device, and we'll show a little bit of mobility later. Just to understand chat over email, one of the mandates in an organization is to reduce the number of emails and to move over to chatting. So I'm going to stop this share right here. And I just want to talk to you, just had a story the other day happen where I was working, it was Friday afternoon, and Daxon, as you know, he's my right-hand man. He sent me a quick text. So instead of emailing or calling me, waiting for a response, shoot me a quick text, it took about 10 seconds, because he noticed something was maybe duplicated in some of his tasks, and it was a quote he was working on. And he had asked me quickly with the outline, is this something we need to work on? And I analyzed it quickly and said, no, I want you to hold on that. I think it's a duplicate. And right there, he was able to put it on hold. He confirmed and agreed he got my message. And within about 10 to, let's say, 20 seconds, he was able to move on to his next task, saving him about 15 to 30 minutes, because he would have went ahead and got that done. And we would have came back and found out later that that would have been extra work. So many team members have been able to use that, and in our organization, we have that to quickly text. A tech has a quick question about something on site, about a client specifically, and from there, we've seen many advantages of saving time. So we get faster communications, which ultimately saves time, which allows our people to get back onto individual tasks or move on to the next task where it's very valuable, and then get more done in the same amount of time they did in the past. So that's where chat can be very advantageous. So I want to move on to, of course, a very quick, I wanted to get some value to you guys, and I wanted to move quickly. So remember, this will be recorded. You can chat with us offline anytime you need help, or our team is available to help with anything you see here today. And this will be available online if you want to go through some of the features that we talked about. But next, in Win 2 is our integrated meetings. So, and also remember, if you have any questions, we will have a Q&A session coming up in a couple of minutes as we are moving quickly, about 10 minutes at the end. So for any of those questions, we will get that up and running for you. But what I wanted to talk about is the integrated meetings for teams. So we all know that there's been kind of meeting software out there, third-party software, but by having it integrated direct in your teams, you can jump quickly into a meeting impromptu from chat, or have planned events set reoccurring in your Outlook calendars using Teams, and I'll show how that is done. Some of the major research studies have shown Teams reduces the total number and the duration of meetings. So meetings that were conducted during Teams are more reliable due to higher audio and video quality, resulting in less time spent addressing setup and call quality issues. Information workers get more out of their meetings and require few of them overall, thus they can get back to work. So I'm going to show you a little bit about how meetings work in Teams, and then from there, there's my desktop. We have some activity going on. There's our mobile. We're going to show you that soon. But I want to go here into our Teams, back to the same place. But now we're going to look at the calendar. The calendar is where we manage our events, and from there, we can also, it's directly connected to our Outlook. So when we're working with external or even internal partners, we can be scheduling things in Outlook, and I'll show you that in a minute. But basically, we have the ability to meet now, which is I need to connect with you right now. We either didn't do that and jumped from our chat, which we can jump right from our chat into a meeting, or we're in here and we want to start a private meeting with another individual in the organization. We have the ability to create a scheduled meeting, which is something to put into your calendar at a future time that you've arranged with an individual, or the newer feature, live event, which we are using today to get communicating with you, is also available. So we can see here we have our 3 early wins unlocked to maximum savings. That's today and what we're talking about right now, and that's in our calendar. But we can also see how our calendar has a number of other events. What we're going to do is we're going to look at our Outlook and see how it correlates with our Outlook, because I want to show you how easy it is to create Teams meetings right from your Outlook. So everyone's familiar with your Outlook. Everyone's using Outlook nowadays, and they've been using it for a long time. So we're in our calendar area. Someone contacts you and says, let's have a meeting, or you're trying to meet someone with your internal team. Right here, integrated directly, big bold button, easy to see. By clicking that, it prompts a new meeting. Benefit is right at the bottom. So we have our new meeting. We can set in our required individuals, optional, everything you're used to. The location now is a Teams meeting because you could be anywhere. You could be on your mobile device in a car. You could be at a coffee shop. You could be working from home. Hopefully that's not going to happen too much in the future, but we'll see how that goes. So it's not in a conference room or a showroom. It's directly a mobile meeting. But what it's done, it's created the unique link here, all ready to go. And so when you send it to the individual, that link is going to be available for them to work with you and easily connect like we did today. And once we set that, we're going to see that's done here today at 10:30, but let's book it for 11 just because we're working hard already today. And we see in our Outlook calendar, a new meeting has been booked. And if we see at the other end, the link is available. But now if we go back to our Teams, we're going to see here that in here, if I booked it to the right person, where is it going? There, a new meeting synchronized. So that came from my Outlook up into the cloud under the Microsoft stack and came back into my Teams. So now I can either work directly in Teams, not having to switch between applications, or we're able to move through Outlook. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today, but the benefit has been, and you may have saw our post just the other day in LinkedIn, was we were able to connect an organization that you may have heard of, Zamboni. So they're very interested. They have the Microsoft stack. They are available. They're starting to move forward into it, as many of our clients are. We're getting them up to Office 365. And before they even turned on or were starting to use Teams, we were able to bring the entire organization together. Sweden, Quebec, Ontario, and even California for the first time ever. So that was a great event, showing that even if they haven't even started using it, we were still able to integrate and get everyone together. Today, we're using the live event to get it out to everyone. And of course, at IT Force, we have a minimum of 4 Teams meetings going on a day, whether it's video, audio, or direct. And we got one in the morning for service, one in the morning for sales, and of course we have many meetings going on throughout the day. So the final win, we're moving quickly through our time, and that's what I promised you, is to make sure we get through everything quickly, is I wanted to show you a little bit more about the mobility side of this. So everything we've done so far today was about chat and meetings, but they're also available in the mobility. I want to show how that integrates, because across the Microsoft Teams research, companies have reported improved communication and collaboration, which is very important, which improves, of course, the business outcomes and saves time. Mobile workers especially benefited from moving to Teams because of better access to resources. So they could be on their mobile phones, but what about someone on their laptop that had to pull out into the Timmy's or the Starbucks and get connected? They found it created better employee cohesion and a common corporate culture across locations and, of course, generations. As we know, it seems like we're hiring younger and younger people all the time, but I think I'm just getting older, but we won't tell anyone about that. So I'm going to show a mobile version. It's a representation. So, you know, both iOS and the Android operating systems are completely compatible. So whether you're an iPhone or Samsung or a knockoff, you're going to be compatible. So I'm going to show you an emulator we have that's going to help see what it looks like when we work on a mobile. So right here, we have an Android operating system that I'm able to run on a system and on my computer, so I can show you. And here we see Teams is on there. To Do, great app, will be for another Teams in our Planner, another one. Outlook built right in, very familiar, but it brings all my Outlook here on my phone instead of just using the inherent. But I want to talk about, let's take a look at what Teams looks like. So we saw chats and we saw meetings. But what does that look like here on a mobile device? So very familiar operating environment. There's our bar here. This is the app bar where we can go to our Teams, which we saw on the app. We can go to our calendar. In the list view here, we can see all the events going on in our calendar. And then, of course, we have our chat. So we saw that chat earlier. We made that quick group. We were able to look at a file, but I'm mobile. But what do I do with this file that was sent to me? Well, because integration is mobile, we have the ability to look and work with all the Microsoft stack while we're mobile. I can analyze this document even on my phone. I can even edit it on my phone with my mobile apps. And this allows me to make faster decisions, approve documents, and move the team forward where we work together. And from there, we have the meeting section. So while I'm in a chat, I can quickly, without switching, I could do a phone call with them, which is audio only, just like a classic call, but it's using the Teams software instead of cellular. So it's using your data plan. But I can also have a one-to-one, kind of like a FaceTime or a group chat using my mobile device, because of course mobile devices all have cameras and they have video included. So anything you do on the mobile system or on your PC or a laptop is also compatible on your mobile, and vice versa. So we're now moving into our Q&A time, so I want to make sure there's enough time for those who have asked questions. So I'm going to close that off there. So I'm just going to pull up any of our Q&As, and we're going to take a look to see. Oh, we have one here. So working with Camp Maple Leaf was a big question because we had to do their board of directors meeting. And with that board of directors meeting, one of the questions was how many people can visually be seen when we do the video side of things. And from there, Microsoft Teams has currently got it up to 4 active screens. So that doesn't mean everyone won't be able to be seen on the screen. While you're in the meeting, the AI is monitoring the audio and actually the movement of the individual. So if you are moving around, your camera on the newer laptops will track you. But the audio, it monitors the audio, so when people start speaking, it will automatically bring them to the forefront of one of the active windows, so you can see them in the video side. So if you're not seeing everyone in a meeting initially, their icon down below, and as they speak, they will be brought forward to the top, and they'll be asked to, you'll be able to see them on the screen. And from that today, guys, I know it was a lot of information. No other questions at this time. So I wanted to, the one thought is just to understand all the communications that are happening in the audio conference, in the video, it's all using data. So this is Wi-Fi, this is your cell data plan. So it's not using the traditional copper phone lines anymore. So you can connect with your team without leaving the app very quickly, all directly, audio or video, and it'll all be through data. So having a good internet connection, good Wi-Fi in your organization will reduce the use of your phone lines and any of your long distance calls. So if you start working with teams in multiple locations that are long distance, all the long distance goes away. So if you were here and you need to call Quebec, or if you were here and you need to call California or even Sweden, depending, and make sure they're not asleep, you'd be able to directly call them. So with a few more questions we have. So what we're finding, the ideal customer that is working with teams right now is definitely organizations who have a lot of information workers and those who have a lot of external connectors. Individuals like vendors or partners where they need to work, they can work right into teams. Teams are today, and anyone, it's all about communication and connecting. So whether you have project teams, departmental teams that need to collaborate and work together, there's huge advantages of getting teams brought up into a shared workspace for teamwork. And then from there, those who need a lot of communications amongst their peers in the communication systems or collaboration on files, which may be new, instead of having to share a file back and forth, then from there we would see that those organizations can really benefit from teams. So manufacturers, logistics, business services, bringing the cloud, the Microsoft Cloud, not only teams, but integrates with their AI and starts presenting a lot of benefits to organizations through collaboration and communication. Teams has the ability, and there's a newer feature, we've been on it for a couple months. Of course, we like to try before we bring it out to our organizations. They are rolling out phone system. So once your team gets integrated and starts using the workspace and collaborating, you'll see them not leaving it a lot, because there's a lot to offer inside that. And one of the benefits with good internet communications, a lot of people have heard about voice over IP. Well, Microsoft's now offering this built-in to Teams, and they're still rolling it out here in Canada, so we're early adopters, so let us test it and get it on board. But it's definitely something that you'd want to get on your roadmap coming down the future for the collaboration side and moving into the audio, which allows people from the outside world to dial a phone number and your teams answer it. So if we have any more questions, it looks like that was a good series of questions we had, and I was able to get through them all. We're coming close to the end of our teams and our here. Sorry, I'm just looking over at my prompt. Lots of information going on. So we're about 2 minutes early. So I just wanted to thank everyone for coming out today. Hopefully there was some value there, and of course you can reach out to our team anytime for more details, and we'll be available to that. But we'll get this posted online. We'll get it out to everyone. We have a series of videos that we're producing, and they're helping a lot of organizations. Right now, we do have chat and details on chat, so definitely take a look at those out on our YouTube channel. And we have a few other ones. We have our Can't Maple Leaf out there, so if you want to see me interviewing Can't Maple Leaf and all the features about how we're helping them out and how they're taking advantage of Teams. So another one is not-for-profits. They're benefiting lots, because they're able to keep their teams connected and help get those services out better. So I want to thank Daxon, my producer. You guys saw him. You didn't get to see him, but he's in the background working hard, helping me look good. And I want to thank everyone for joining us today. And we'll hope to see you next month at our Teams and We'll get that out to everyone. Take care. Have a great day.